I am sharing some DDO builds. First one I want to bring you guys. I've been playing for a while. Haven't ever put any of these on YouTube, but I want to start putting them on there. I have a single dagger rogue monk powerhouse first number build. So let's start with the basics. I'm going to pull up how I normally make my builds. I normally put them in some kind of planning format like this, so I get an idea of what I want to do up here. I decided to go 18 rogue, 2 monk, mainly be able to use the assassin tree as well as the monk stance to try to really max out some melee power from some trees. I obviously didn't end up going halfling. I went to backseat because I wanted to try the new race. So I plan out my points here. So I ended up with max dex because it's a dex build. So I put all 16 points in the dex to max it out, and you can see how I kind of spread the rest out through the rest of my abilities here. And then down here, go through my feats. Actually, this is backwards. I know I didn't take past life rogue at 1. I took it later on. I believe I actually took dodge at 1. And I didn't take past life rogue until almost endgame. Then for the rest of the feats, pretty straightforward. One in the max out single weapon fighting dagger build. I did take completionist. I know after update 56 you no longer have to take completionist, but I made this guy slightly before that. And then at level 6 I took another stance for monk stance to level that up further, as I wanted to make sure I got to the 3rd fire stance for the multiplier. My 2 monk feats I took precision and single weapon fighting, and then I took improved single weapon fighting, the 3rd monk stance, so I got my multiplier, improved crit, greater single weapon fighting, over crit, perfect single weapon fighting, improved sneak attack, double strike, offhand versatility, crush weakness, past life rogue. I'm trying to remember what actual epic feat I took for the legendary feat. So I did go ethereal plane for the 6 sneak attack die and 5 melee power. And then for 31, I took Dreamscape. I'll explain that a little more later. The next thing I want to do is I normally put my action points out. So I normally plan ahead. I came with a couple ideas depending if I want to go top tree assassin or top tree Vistani. I'll end up showing you what I did here. So I ended up going top tree Vistani. I know a lot of people like to assassinate, and I do too. I just didn't like sneaking around all the time and then trying to assassinate. And to be honest, more times than not, endgame I would be swinging faster and more often than trying to sneak around. So I switched it back to go top tree Vistani. So I put 30 points into assassin, obvious stuff: sneak attack, power boost, venom blades, crit multiplier, killer, and execution strike. Really, you're just trying to get to here, where you get an insight bonus to your critical multiplier to your weapon. Then Vistani, pretty straightforward stuff. To take 41, since I'm a splash build, this is the only capstone I could get, so I took it. Gets 20 flat melee power, and like I said, I am trying to go for a big first number build, so that goes a lot into flat melee power. The rest of the stuff is pretty basic if you're going for the dagger. Take the dagger damage all the way up. I took this all the way up to fill points as well as get some extra defense. Haste boost, double strike, more to double strike, and then this is where you get an extra 20 melee power if you're only single weapon fighting instead of dual fighting. The rest of the points I put just a couple random points throughout here and the other monk trees just to grab a few extra melee power from the leftover point and a sneak attack die from a couple leftover points there. And Tabaxi, I've got 13 racial points. So I had to put at least 13 in here, and then put in one extra one just to get the faster movement, or the reduced cooldown on the movement. So then after that, I either go and kind of start playing with the build idea I want to do in terms of gear. I didn't fully gear this guy out. I've been playing him about a month on this life. I'm ready to move on, so I haven't fully geared it out to finish it. But the idea was to go into the Dreadstalker set bonus, which I do have, as well as also getting the basic Isle of Dread set bonus. The purpose being the Dreadstalker gives you artifact melee power, and the Isle of Dread basic set gives you profane. So like I said, I was really trying to max out melee power. I've got a couple more fun builds going up soon that will play with that. And then down here you can go into your Epic Destinies as well. And then I always toy with some filigrees to possibly use. So back into the game. So for Epic Destinies, I focused into Dreadnought. I felt like it was the best choice for straight up first number of damage. I did go pretty heavy into Shadow Dancer as it gels well with the Dagger build, and then really into Monk to get some extra damage as well as some extra melee power on the cores, because each core gives you 5 melee power. So then, if you're looking through how I ended up here, pretty mediocre, honestly, in some of the builds, but it really does do quite a bit of damage. DPS, it sits at 246 on melee power. It's not quite as high as I wanted it to be, but the results still ended up pretty decently. Dex is your main stat, and then also followed by Con, straight up just for hit points. All three of these stats are pseudo important, but I didn't focus on that much in this build. And then the last thing I want to talk about is what I found important when actually playing the character. So this top bar here is my main bar. This is really the buttons I primarily use. The rest of them are all situational. So pretty straightforward. I've got a lot of my offensive abilities on here because I am a straight offensive character, class cannon. So I've got the Legendary Rally, which is from the Dreadnought tree. That just is a cleave that auto crits on everything. And I've also got the Cat Scratch cleave on here from the Tabaxi tree. Those are really the only two AoEs I've got. My main abilities that I use, Blessed Blades, you can keep that up pretty much all the time. Give you some extra damage on your dagger, as well as Rapid Slash, which gives you also flat double strike. I have my 2 epic strikes here, whether I want to go for Dire Charge in an AoE setting, or Shadow Strike just for the extra possible multiplier on a single target. I didn't use it a ton. It just didn't gel very well with the speed of your swing. It always kind of gets you out of sync, so I didn't use that often. But to round out of my bar here, I've got my sneak attack buttons, which would be Assassin's Trick to remove immunity and sneak attack, as well as Shiv to provoke sneak attack even if I was face taking somebody. And then the final 2 I've got in my main bar are Execute, which is a big burst damage when they fall under 25%, as well as, or 30%, sorry, as well as the Vistani Fortune, which gives you a random of 4 different possibilities. This one gave me 10 double strike. You can also give out 15 melee power, 2 to all stats, or 10 PRR, and 20 MR. I have it on my bar, because if I don't put it on my bar, I will totally forget about it and not use it often enough. And then down here I've got all my extra clickies. Uncanny Dodge for defense, my action boost, my Reaper boost, my legendary boost from Legendary Dreadnought, as well as the speed boost from PDK. And then self-heal from Grandmaster. That's really most of what I use. I've got my clicky for Past Life Rogue over here just for extra sneak attack damage. Other than that, this build's pretty straightforward. It's just a full offensive build. I did take Dreamscape because I didn't really have anything else to take at 31, and it's a buff that you can use and get a random buff, but I honestly use it more defensively when playing High Reaper, because once you use it, you'll go invulnerable after a second or so. So it lets me help drop some aggro or let some teammates catch up if I actually put myself in a bad spot. But other than that, that pretty much rounds out this build. So if you have some ideas or comments on it, I know it's not perfect, and I ended up not finishing the gear quite all the way. I did end up getting the stalker set, so I've got the armor, the helmet, and the cloak. So I've got that set bonus running. Outside of that, I didn't get too much of the Isle of Dread gear. I actually started rounding out just with some random Sharn gear and some Feywild as well. So I was running Tharn's goggles for the extra deception and diversion, the stalker outfit, like I said, the Vambrace of Summer Court for the Insightful Seeker and the Insightful Double Strike. The artifact I was using was the Dex Ring, really just for the Insightful Deadly and Accuracy. I didn't really have a good artifact that gelled into this build set, so I just kind of plugged in one there. The Deep Snow Boots were just a filler for some extra hit points in the meantime until I found what I was looking for. The Stagger Shockers is a raid item that I don't really get to use that often, but it fit in because I was just looking for a double strike item, and this one also had lesser displacement and the Thunderclap on it, so I thought it'd be fun to use. The Lionheart was just being used for the Insightful armor piercing as well as the action boost enhancement, which ends up not really being that necessary. I don't think there's a single quest that I actually ran out of action boost, just because the Dreadnought lets you proc them back as you're in the quest. The Dragon Belt just is a general health item, and then the Family Recruit Sigil, I was going to eventually switch this out for the raid version, and then I've been running the Litany of the Dead as the trinket just for some extra damage and ability bonus to all abilities. And then for my dagger, eventually I was going to switch to the Bottle of Rum, which I actually just did pull. I just haven't switched it over because I've got a bunch of filigrees already set in the Moon Slice. So that pretty much rounds out what I was trying to do here. I am going to post a couple videos of some gameplay with the build so you guys can see it in action. I do think it was a really fun build. It really cruised in terms of damage. You are a full glass cannon though, like you were not meant to be on your own or in melee holding aggro whatsoever. But I'm going to post a video of a raid that is only on Legendary Hard, so you can see your full DPS potential without being having the Reaper reduction. And then I'm also going to submit another upload another video that has some Reaper questing on R8 and above, so you can kind of see what the potential high Reaper endgame damage looks like as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the build. If you watched it, feel free to leave me any comments or suggestions in there. Like I said, I know the build was a little wonky going for the double Isle of Dread gear, but I was just kind of wanting to play with, see how much melee power I could get up to with the Rogue Monk Dagger. So feel free to leave some comments, and I will look forward to reading them and look for the gameplay videos to come soon. Thank you.